Okay, today I'm going to be making a 4-layer mommy necklace charm in mixed colors of metal. First, I've got a copper disc, a brass disc, that's brass new gold, so it's a gold color, then the silver disc, and then to top it off, since we only have the 3 colors, another copper disc. The way you start with this is I decide what colors I need, pick out the layers, and pick the color for the bottom, get the next color up so that they're stacked on one another and have enough room. Stack the 3rd one on it, and then the 4th one to make sure that they're going to lay right. I actually punch my holes in on mine first. I like to work that way. It helps me to center my names and stuff underneath it by putting the center of the word directly underneath the disc. So after I punch my holes, I will check to make sure that I have them all punched correctly, and that when they are on the ring, they are laid up together so that there's plenty of room for the writing on each disc. This one has 4 names to go on it. Generally what I do, some people will do it differently. I prefer to do it this way because I do not like to put a name that is too long on the tiniest disc and it looks squished. I will tell people, whether or not they like to put them in a certain order because of the birth order. I go by the length of the name so that the longest name is on the bottom and work my way up to the shortest name on the top. Most of the time at least one name is going to be short amount of characters. Like this one, the shortest one is Lisa, so she will be on the top, and the longest one is Diane, which will go on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the bottom copper disc first. It's a little bit on the tarnished side, so I'm going to polish it a little bit to start with some steel wool. Just a light coat of polish here to get the color on it so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. I tape my disc down on my metal stamping block so that it doesn't move around on me while I'm working. I'm going to pull the letters out for the name first. And line them up in order on my little holder. Depending on what I'm doing, if it's a name or something, I'll do it like that, and I have them lined up so you can see them, and I can look directly at them, pull them in order. This name has 5 letters in it, so it's uneven. That way I count to the center, and the middle letter is A. I'm using a very tiny little small letter set here so that it will fit and has plenty of room left on the top of it. I'm going to center my A directly under my hole at the bottom. This is going to go around the bottom outside edge. And after I've centered the first letter, I will work my way around the disc from each side, making sure that the numbers, the letters are all turned in the direction they need to be. And I'm going to put a little swirl on either side of the name. And that's one done. Then I will color it in with my paint marker to make the letters dark so that it shows up better when you're looking at it later on. I'm going to let this sit for a minute before I clean it. I'm going to move to the next disc, which is the copper color, the brass color, gold. Bottom is copper. The next letter, lower level, is brass. Polish it. And then I'm going to pull my letters for the next name. It's also an uneven name, so I'm going to do the exact same as I did the first. Pick the middle letter, stamp, and work my way out. Okay, and then I'm going to choose a different design stamp to go on the sides of this name. So each layer will be uniquely different. I'm going to color it too. And put it to the side to let it dry. Then I'm going to clean off my paint from the first one because I don't want it to sit too long, because then it gets a little bit harder to get off if it sits too long. After I clean it, we'll go back over it and polish it with the steel wool again. And this gives it a brushed finish as it's cleaning, so it'll have a really, really shiny new penny look. And I'll do the front and the back. Because after I'm all done, I'm going to actually put a top coat on it to help it keep its shine, unless the customer requests that they want it to turn. So it'll, if you leave that top coat off, it will start looking like a penny eventually and darken up. So now I have my first layer done and ready to go. I'm going to go stamp my third layer. This one is on a silver disc. Now this one is only 4 letters in this one, so it's an even number. So what I do with those is I get my letter that's going to be on one side in the center, go down from the hole, slightly over, and tap. Since it's the same letter, it's in. I'm going to go tap again. Then I have an O. And the last letter is Y. So that's all lined up. And then I'm going to go back and put my little design stamp again. on either side. I prefer to do this by sight. Some people, if they're going across in a straight line, they will put a piece of tape across it and line it up based on the tape. Everybody has their own little method of how they do it. Or they would tape the thing down, and then they would actually turn their block as they go. And if I'm doing a really long thing that's going all the way around the disc, I will do that. But ones like this, I don't have to, because it's not going all the way around. I'm going to go back and clean this second disc. With the gold. Shine it up. This is actually on a brass New Gold disc. Stampin' Blank. The brass New Gold looks like shiny bright gold. It's made of a metal mixture with copper and brass, and it will tarnish, so I put a top coat on it also to keep it shiny. So here's our second disc completed. That's the gold color. So as I'm going, I'm going to check it, make sure it's right, and I don't need to redo anything. And it lines up pretty well. I want to hang crooked, but so that you can see the names on each layer. And I'm going to go stamp the last layer for the name for it. And the font that I use depends greatly on, what I'm doing, who the recipient is, if I want it to be fancier for a lady or if I want it to be a man. Font. It's a little plainer font. And what I'm working on, when it's something like this, I have to use a tiny, small letter. Since this one is on the top, I'm actually going to put a little heart in the center on the top of it. I didn't like the way that one lined up quite on one side. It didn't quite stamp down as good, so I'm going to try my luck and see if I can fix it. And I did. That's a little hard to line up and do sometimes. Doesn't always work. But I'm getting pretty good at doing that. This disc kind of bent a little bit more on me, so I'm going to flatten it first with a yellow rubber hammer. This is a rubber and this one's a little harder nylon hammer. So it doesn't scratch the disc when it flattens it, but it will flatten it right back out into shape. And color this one in. Go back and clean the third one. I'm using a little bit of alcohol to clean it with, which works pretty good as long as you don't let it sit too long. And I will give a brushed finish onto the aluminum disc. You can also do these with sterling silver. Sterling silver costs a little bit more. You're going to be really careful when you're stamping it because you don't want to waste a black silver blank. So a lot of people, when they're just starting out, they won't even attempt to use a sterling blank because it is a more expensive material. And you don't want to be throwing sterling in the trash when you make a mess up. So you need to be a fairly competent stamper before you start doing that. I do sterling But it is, since it is more expensive, I get more calls for the aluminum. Alright. The aluminum, if I put it in a tumbler and tumble it to polish it, for about 30 minutes it comes out looking shiny just like the sterling does. I'm going to go ahead and flatten these a little bit too. Make sure everything's flat. Clean the last one. Polish. Oops, dropped it. And here's our finished piece. I'm going to get it lined up so you can see it. With the mixed colors. If you do, you can either do it all in one color in copper, or the gold, or the silver, depending on what you want the look to be. This one is now ready for the next stage, the final polish, and then a top coat, and it's ready to go to our customer.